Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am in Kansas City, Missouri at the corner of 12th Street and Vine, or what was once 12th Street and Vine. You may recognize that as like the lyrics of an old popular song. This was once a very prominent area in Kansas City, but unfortunately it saw its demise many years ago. But there are two historically markers that talk about that. Also going to be talking about behind the song Kansas City, which was the #1 hit for a man named Wilbert Harrison. All right, check it out. Now I can tell this is definitely put up in the last few years. I mean, it's got the piano keys, starting with, of course, I'm not going to sing it because, you know, some big name music publishing company owns it and record labels, but I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. They've got Crazy Way of Lovin' there. I thought they said Crazy Little Women there. Oh well. But anyway. But 12th Street and Vine is mentioned in the lyrics, as it says. Alright, so now we're going to talk about going to Kansas City Plaza, which is just right in front of me. And the other markers up there, which I'll get into. So originally known as Ottawa, 12th Street spanned from the West Bottoms, nestled in the confluence of the Kansas and Missouri rivers, to the eastern suburbs dotted by small bungalows. At first a colorless retail strip, 12th Street blossomed into an entertainment center. Ray Van Buren, writing in the Kansas City Star in 1911, marveled at the transformation of 12th Street during the previous 12 years from a deadline of retail and nothing more into a shimmering street of light and life. Ragtime composer Uday Bowman captured the bustling spirit of 12th Street with his composition 12th Street Rag. That is a sheet music cover for that. Streetcars rumbled every few minutes up and down 12th Street, and travelers on 12th Street experienced a slice of Kansas City commerce, culture, and entertainment. Now, the 12th Street Bridge, which is just down that way, I actually just drove on it right before I came here from the Stockyards area. But the Stockyards, established in the early 1870s, that spread across the bottoms, grew to be the second largest in the world. And then talks more about the city. After the First World War, future President Harry Truman operated a men's clothing shop at 12th and Baltimore. Across the street, crowds rubbernecked to catch a glimpse of presidential caravans pulling up to the stately Hotel Muehlebach. And then this is the east part of 12th Street, or the east part of the city, stretching east, traversed northern edge of the African-American community centered around Vine Street. Racial barriers came down in the so-called black and tan clubs east of Troost on 12th Street, where African Americans and white patrons mixed freely. 12th Street continued east, passing through the Blue Valley Industrial District before meandering to an end in the country beyond the suburbs of eastern Jackson County. Here's some pictures of what Kansas City looked like back in the day. And now we're going to talk about Kansas City's history of the nightlife scene. It was once known as the Paris of the Plains during the 1930s. And newspaper columnist Westbrook Pegler observed that, like Parisians, Kansas Cityans were proud of their own indifference to the vice and corruption that flourished under the rule of political boss Tom Pendergast. Much of Kansas City's bright nightlife centered around 12th Street. Commerce and pleasure strolled hand in hand down 12th Street, which hosted nightclubs, saloons, taxi dance halls. I never heard of a taxi dance hall. And of course, theaters. And then the Vanity Fair and other upscale clubs located downtown featured full-size bands and fast-paced floor shows with comedians and dancers. The Reno Club and other clubs crowding 12th Street east of Oak ranged from smart night spots during ensembles to saloons, serving up buckets of beer to the tune of stomped-down pianists. The Count Basie Band held court at the Reno Club, tucked behind the police headquarters at 12th and Cherry. Wow, there's just so much. Charlie Parker, one of the city's most famous musicians, he cut his musical teeth playing the Greenleaf Gardens and the Bar de Loup. And Big Joe Turner. Here's some really cool pictures, postcard pictures rather. During the days of public segregation, 12th and Vine served as a business and social hub for the northern edge of a vibrant African-American community. Bounded on the south by 27th Street, Holmes to the west, and Benton Boulevard on the east. But everything was on 12th Street. Grocery stores, clothing stores, pharmacies, ice cream parlors, dentists, professionals, And then you had the Castle Theater, which featured first-run films. Joe Louis and other visiting celebrities stopped by the castle to catch a movie and mingle with their fans. The Wall Street Review, a popular variety stage show emceed by comedian Rabbit Sims, made its debut at the castle in July 1939. It continued on to the early 1950s, right when rock and roll was brewing. Social life swirled between the Jockey Club, the Boulevard Room, and the Orchard Room on the corner of 12th and Vine. Located behind the Vine Street Tavern, the Elegant Orchid Room featured national acts traveling on the Chitlin circuit like Billie Holiday, Red Fox, Earl Grant, the Ravens. Pianist Lil Willie Littlefield frequently performed an early version of Kansas City called KC Lovin'. And that's at the Orchid Room. And now for the famous song Kansas City, which went to #1 in 1959, as it says here. But Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller, who were very prominent songwriters in the 1950s, they penned Hound Dog. They did a lot of songs for the Coasters and a bunch of doo-wop acts like Smokey Joe's Cafe. But the song Kansas City put 12th and Vine on the musical map. Little Willie Littlefield recorded KC Lovin' as the first version of Kansas City. Now, Leiber and Stoller refined the lyrics and changed the name to Kansas City for the 1959 recording by Wilbert Harrison on the Fury label, which is that. An instant hit, Kansas City skyrocketed to #1 on the Billboard charts with the lyrics, "Some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna give you one." I really wish I could play that song in this video, but I know YouTube's gonna hit me with a copyright thing. But anyway, the Beatles, Little Richard, and hundreds of other artists have recorded Kansas City, and the catchy melody still beckons visitors to 12th and Vine. Oh yeah. And here's the sheet music, if that helps. All right, now we're gonna go a little bit further. Talks more about the destruction of 12th and Vine. And yes, it is raining outside, in case you haven't noticed. Look, I'm glad it's not pouring, but yeah, it is. It's been misting all day, but I'm not gonna let things literally dampen my plans. But as you can see, this is shaped like a piano, and of course the keys. This is gonna be a sculpture garden, apparently, as so it says on here. Well, like most urban areas, during the early 1970s, 12th and Vine fell victim to urban renewal. Kansas City's Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority leveled most of the neighborhoods surrounding 12th and Vine as part of a citywide rebuilding effort. In 1977, the authority realigned the streets to create Paseo Green Park. By the way, that is the Paseo Drive right there. It's got a good green median. Unfortunately, the reconfiguration of the streets eliminated the famed intersection of 12th and Vine. Now, with the creation of Goin to Kansas City Plaza at 12th Street and Vine, the historic corner of 12th and Vine has been restored. Established in 2005, the grand piano-shaped plaza celebrates the intersection of 12th and Vine and the song Kansas City. The piano monument base, which of course is right here, serves as a platform for a featured sculpture that embodies the spirit of 12th and Vine. It is a work in progress, this park that is, and they're going to do everything they can to link Kansas City's past and future. So, in the future, at the time you watch this video, next time you're in Kansas City, be sure to check out this park. You may find something different here. I mean, I wish it was a nicer day, but hey, I mean, this looks really green and well kept. All right, well, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. Hope you learned a little bit of KC history in this episode. All right, stay tuned for more KC videos on this channel. I'm Jason, signing off.